Welcome, Roadrunners, to Rio Hondo College. My name is Cesar, and I am a student success coach at the Student Success and Dream Center. Today's workshop, I'm going to be talking about a syllabus. Syllabus analysis workshop today. And this is presented to you by the Student Success and Dream Center. So if you've never heard about what a syllabus is, or if you've heard about it, but you're not really sure what it means or how you're supposed to use it, then this workshop is going to be perfect. So I highly encourage you to take some notes, to put your full undivided attention to this workshop, because I promise you're going to get a lot of value out of this workshop. So thank you for joining, and I am excited to present on this presentation today. So you might be wondering, what will be covered in today's syllabus workshop? I'll let you know right now. So I'm going to talk about the attendance policy, academic integrity policy, expectations for classroom, what the standards and criteria are for graded assignments, accommodation policies for students with special needs, topics and readings that need to be covered in sequence with dates, important dates, assignment due dates, exam dates and holidays, policies on what happens if you turn in something late or something's incomplete, and a description of the final grade, how your grade will be broken down into ranges for each letter grade. And if this seems confusing right now, don't worry, I'll explain it in the next slides. Also, I'll be covering the description of the course content, where the names and contact information for the teaching assistants are, course goals and objectives, prereqs or core requisites required for the course, and what skills may be expected to prior to going into the class. I'll talk about how to locate the instructor's information, for example, their name, their office location, office phone number, email, basic information about the course, for example, the section, the title, when you'll be meeting, times, days, and the type of format of the course. And also, I'll let you know how to get the required text for the classes or other methods that you can use for you to be able to get access to that course information. So what is a syllabus? If you're an incoming high school student, you probably don't know what a syllabus is. If you were lucky, maybe your teachers in high school started preparing you, but for me, when I was in high school, I never saw a syllabus. I didn't know what it was till I got to college and I was given a syllabus. And what a syllabus is, it's basically just a guide to the course you will be taking and what is expected of you in the course. So generally it includes policies, rules, regulations, required text, and a schedule of the assignments you need to turn in with due dates, how to turn it in, where to turn it in. And also a syllabus can tell you nearly everything you need to know about how a course will run and what is expected of you. So there will be no surprises. The syllabus is really clear for that reason. It lets you know what you need to turn in, when you need to meet, and like I said, policies and rules that you just need to follow. So from here on now, your syllabus is going to be your best friend, and you'll find out why in the next slide. So in the syllabus, you'll be able to access information like the professor's name, their title, office location, office hours, their office phone number, their email, and what classes they teach. When you are taking classes in person, knowing the professor's office location is important because sometimes you may need to meet with them in person. You may need to turn something in to their office. You want to know when their office hours are. And if you're wondering, well, what are office hours? What office hours are times outside of class when the professor can meet with you. So if you have any questions about an assignment you turned in, about your grade, the office hours is the best time to meet with your professors. Their email will also be on the syllabus, which is extremely important. I cannot stress this enough. Throughout the semester, you're going to probably have to email your professor if you need to turn something in late or if you need to communicate with something. So my piece of advice is creating an Excel sheet, adding the course names and putting every professor's email and with their name. That way, if you ever need to email them, you have that Excel sheet ready to email the professors. But if not, you can always look back to the syllabus and see their email and go from there. And also, the syllabus will have the classes that they will be teaching for that semester. Something to keep in mind is that every professor has a different syllabus with different expectations and policies. So never assume that what one professor's syllabus will be the same for another class, because that doesn't work. So just keep that in mind. The description of the course content will also be provided in the syllabus. So basic information about the course number, the section, title, what semester you'll be taking that course in, meeting times, days, and location. So for example, if the syllabus says that you'll be meeting online, then you are expected to meet online. But if the syllabus says you'll be meeting at a certain location on campus, then that's where you'll be meeting. So make sure to read your syllabus and really highlight any important information, because it is going to come in handy. The syllabus also has course goals and objectives. So what the description of the class is about, what will be on the homework assignments, what will be on the quizzes, what will be on the tests, and what you need to learn depending on the subject. So some professors might give 4 quizzes throughout the semester, and other professors might not have any quizzes. When I was in college, I would have some professors who would give maybe 2 or 3 tests throughout the semester, and then I had professors who didn't give any tests. So like I said, it really just varies from professor to professor. So you want to make sure that if you have any questions, you ask the professor when they're going over the syllabus. That way, there's no confusion. In the syllabus, there'll be required purchases for the course information. So for example, there's options for you to borrow or rent if you don't want to purchase the textbooks. There's options like the library instructor, peer online. You can check out websites like Chegg or Amazon Rentals, and that way you can rent the book for the semester, turn it back in when the class ends, and that way you don't have to buy the textbook if you don't need it. There's also other options for purchasing bookstores online. For example, Chegg, Amazon. You can search up options for free, search for electronic options like a PDF, or the EOPS book grant. So if you are an EOPS student, make sure to contact their office so that you can see how you can be eligible for a book grant. And you may also want to look for textbooks other places. If you want to try to look for the textbooks on OfferUp, if you want to try to look maybe at your local bookstore, give it a try. But for the most part, you're going to have to rent or purchase your books. I highly suggest that you rent the books if possible. That way you save some money, and also you're able to just use the book for the time of the semester. If you have not been paying attention throughout this workshop, you want to pay attention on this slide. You may be asking yourself, well, why? The academic integrity policy will be in the syllabus. And this is something to not take lightly. This is super serious. So it will let you know what are the class academic standards, what happens if you cheat, which I highly suggest never cheat, what happens if you turn in late work, what happens if you copy work, what happens if you don't turn in work, and how you will be disciplined if you avoid the academic integrity policy. So my advice is don't cheat, don't copy, and try to turn in your things in on time. If something just happens, let your professor know ahead of time that you're not able to submit the work and ask for an extension. But if not, just do not cheat and do not copy work, because you do not want to put yourself in that situation. And that's just my piece of advice, because I've seen other students in college do that, and it is not a good experience for them. Here are some expectations for classroom interactions. For this slide, I'm going to be talking about in-person expectations. So if you're taking a class at Rio Hondo College or at a community college, then here are some expectations. Arrive to class on time. 5 to 15 minutes is usually my rule of thumb. Turn off your cell phone. If you don't want to turn off your cell phone, then at least put it on do not disturb, lower the volume. The last thing you want is for the phone to ring and the whole class looks at you. Don't bring food or drinks to the class. Contribute to the class discussion when appropriate. Avoid side conversations, especially when the professor is speaking. You don't want to be having a side conversation. Address the professor properly. What does this mean? So ask the professor how they would like you to address them. So some professors like to be called doctors, some like to be called Mr., Miss, and some professors are honestly just cool with you calling them by their full name. So make sure to ask them the first days of class. That way you're able to address them properly. Be attentive in class, stay for the entire class. And if you really need to leave due to an emergency or you have something going on and you already let the professor know, then it's okay if you need to leave class or step out of class. But make sure not to leave class just because you're bored and you'd rather be somewhere else. You want to make sure that you're respectful for the professor's time, and you also want to make sure that you're attentive in class. You don't want to be on your phone scrolling on social media. You want to make the most out of not only class time, but out of your college experience. Here are some expectations for virtual classroom interactions. So if y'all have already been through Zoom University, taking classes, and this might just be a refresh, but if you've never taken an online class, which is really normal, a lot of students have never taken an online class, this slide is super important, so make sure to take notes. So instructors expect students to meet course deadlines. So if they said an exam was due by a certain deadline, even if it's virtual, there was a deadline set, so you are expected to meet it. Instructors expect students to take complete responsibility for their own learning. If you don't understand something, reach out to the professor, try to connect with your classmates. And if not, you can always do your independent research on topics you don't understand. Dress appropriately, contribute to class discussions when appropriate by using the chat feature on Zoom, or you can raise your hand. So there's a feature where you click on it and it lets you allow your hand, and next to your camera, it will show the little hand on the top. That way the professor knows that you want to say something. Mute your microphone. If the professor's speaking, make sure to turn off your microphone, or if someone else is speaking, turn off your microphone. That way noise doesn't interrupt the conversation. Turn on gallery view. Gallery view is just an option for you to see everyone all at once in the screen instead of just seeing like a little box of people. It allows you to see other people's interactions. You also are able to see like their face expressions, and it also just allows the class to feel more like if it's in person. Although it is virtual, I think it's helpful to see everyone else and see who your classmates are. Log into Zoom on time. So if your class starts at 7, make sure to log in a couple minutes early. You don't want to be arriving late. Sometimes the host, which would be the professor, has the option to let students come in or not. So if class already started and you're trying to join later in the day, there could be a possibility that you're not allowed into the room anymore, but that will all depend on your professor. Turn on your camera unless you're unable to do so. I think turning on your camera is super important, not only for you to get more comfortable with other people and seeing other people, but also for the facilitator, which would be the professor. It allows them to see their student interactions. Like, to be honest, if you've ever hosted a Zoom or if you've ever had to record yourself, it can be a little awkward when you don't see any other faces. You just see people's names. So I highly suggest that you turn on your camera. But if you don't have a camera, if you're unable to do so, make sure your professor knows. That way they're not wondering what's happening. Look at the camera when speaking, right? So you want to think that the camera is a person. That way the person who's watching you has that face-to-face interaction with you. The syllabus will also have standards and criteria for graded assignments. So policies on late assignments, incomplete assignments, revisions, corrections, and they'll also let you know what is acceptable versus unacceptable work, right? So on the syllabus, I'll let you know if the professor's open to letting you turn in things in late, or some professors might just say no. If you didn't turn it in, you didn't turn it in. So make sure to understand that for each class. That way there is no confusion throughout the semester. It will also include attendance policy. So going to class on time, what does that look like, right? So for example, if you have a class and it starts at 7 a.m., you are expected to be on the Zoom to start class at 7 a.m. So make it a habit to join the Zoom 5 to 7 minutes before the start time, just in case of any technical difficulties or your battery died or you're having a hard time logging in. I think it's just a good habit to log in 5 to 7 minutes because you just never know what happens with technology. The policy will also let you know if what happens if you come to class late or if you miss too many classes? So for example, you may lose participation points or you may even be marked absent. Also, it will let you know about how to notify your professor if coming late. So for example, maybe your professor might want you to send them an email if you're running late to class, or if you're not able to attend class, they'll let you know how to approach that situation. But my advice is just to always send them an email and let them know ahead of time if you know you're not going to be able to make it to class. It also will cover all the procedures when it comes to attendance. So make sure to ask for clarification, or if you have any questions, any doubts, ask the professors, because they're the ones who created that syllabus and they know what they expect of you. The syllabus also has a description of what the final grade will be, if there will be any extra credit opportunities, how to calculate your grade, how to aim for the grade you want, and breakdown of ranges for each letter grade. Also, how to maintain your grade throughout your semester. So some professors may not give you any opportunities for extra credit versus other professors, they might just be open to it. So make sure to read the description of the final grade and how they go about grading your material for the class. Here's a quick activity. So if you've never calculated your GPA, this is your chance. If you want to pause the video, go ahead and do that. Read the instructions on the left and then join me back in a minute. If not, then I'll do it with you step by step. So let's calculate your grade. If you have the following grades, what is your grade point GPA? So you're taking 5 classes, you got a B, got an A, you got an A for another class, you got a C, and then you got a B. So an A equals 4 points, a B equals 3 points, a C equals 2 points, and a D equals 1 point, and F equals 0 points. So to get your GPA, you want to add the points of each class and divide it by the number of classes you're taking. So on the right side, I created the example. You add 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 3 equals 16 points. And then we divide it by the amount of classes we took. So divided by 5. And the GPA for that semester would be a 3.2 GPA. If you just want to wait till your grades are posted and you want to check your Access Rio and check your actual transcript, it will have that GPA for you. You don't have to go through all this. But if you're wondering, you're curious, like I once was when I was in college, and I wanted to know, like, wow, I wonder what my GPA was, then you can go ahead and use this method. The syllabus will also have accommodation policy for students with special needs. So if you need a note taker for the class, an audio recorder, sound language interpreter, counseling and advising, community licenses with outside agencies, and also academic adjustments must be requested and approved by the DSPS counselor. So if any of these fall under you, then make sure to read that syllabus and see what the policies are so you can get the help you need to succeed in your classes. Topics and readings to be covered in sequence with dates. So it will let the syllabus will let you know what books you will read, when you need to read certain pages by, the dates you read the assigned material, which will correlate to assignment, quizzes, and tests. And also make sure to create a calendar with assignments that are due so you're able to plan accordingly. So I think that creating a calendar is just really going to set you up for success, because you're going to be able to know what is expected of you and by when you need to meet certain deadlines. The syllabus will also include important dates, for example, assignments that have due dates, when quizzes will be due, when exams are, any special holidays that are going to be in effect. And also knowing the classroom due dates is very important so you can plan accordingly, right? So on the next slide, I'll let you know how I used to plan when I was in college and how you can use similar methods to set yourself up for success. You will also have access to contact information for support services. So sometimes the syllabus may contain support services that are offered on campus. If you can't find the campus resources, then ask the professor. The support services can help you pass your classes as well. So if you need certain services, for example, you need to get help with your math classes, your English classes, and look for services that are offered on campus so you can get some tutoring or so you can get someone to help you succeed in your classes. So the Student Success and Dream Center, we're a center here on campus that are here to assist you. So if you have any questions or if you need us to connect you with a certain support service on campus, feel free to reach out to us and I'll have our contact information at the end of this presentation. There's also going to be pre and co-requisites for the course, not just courses, but also what skills are expected of you so that you can be successful in the class. So how the class can help you is going to help you know what you can do with that information after you learn for the class. So if you want to be a teacher or if you want to go into like a master's program or you want to transfer to a Cal State, a UC, a private school in the future, the class will let you know how it's going to set you up to be successful in what your next goal may be. Also, it will let you know what other classes you may need for a particular academic objective. So for example, if you're taking English 101 because it's a prereq for your major, then it will let you know why you're taking the classes. Also, the counselor can also help you with understanding what classes you need to take next. So if you're kind of confused, like, well, why am I taking this class? Make an appointment with your counselor, let them know what your education goals are, and they'll let you know what classes you need to take next and also what classes you need to take in order to achieve your goals. Here are some tips on how to best use your syllabus. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, take a picture of it, or keep writing notes, feel free to do so. But here are my tips on how to best use your syllabus. Use the syllabus to finish projects early. So use it to your advantage. Like I said, the syllabus will let you know when the due dates are. So if you know when the due dates are, you know how to finish your projects early, start early. A trick I used to do is if something's due, for example, next week, I would trick myself and tell myself it was due a week earlier than that. That way I would be able to finish my projects on time and be able to relax a bit. Record due dates on your own calendar. Don't just leave them on your syllabus, right? So you can have all the information on the syllabus, but if you're not using the information, it's going to be super hard to be successful in the classes. So I would recommend you use a Google Calendar, a digital calendar, or a paper calendar. As soon as you get all your syllabus, make sure to start putting in all the due dates for the classes. And that way, when you look at your calendar, it doesn't stress you out as much and you know what to expect versus you not knowing when due dates are coming up and out of nowhere, the professor reminds you, hey, the paper's due tomorrow, and you might not have enough time to turn it in on time anymore. So Google Calendar, digital calendars, or even a paper calendar if you like it that way. Print out your syllabus and place a copy in your binder. So if your professor only sends you a PDF, I would recommend you print it out, you highlight any important due dates, any important test dates, quiz dates, make a copy of it, and then put it in your binder. That way, if you're in class or you need to access it, you have quick access to it, take it out, and you can look at any information you need from the syllabus right there. Use the syllabus to define your daily task list in months in advance. So by using your syllabus, you can see what is the most important thing I need to do. So for example, if you're taking 3 classes and for your English class, you have an important paper due next week, then that's probably going to be the task that's most important for you. So make sure to do that one first instead of doing something that's due way later on and you need to do that paper for next week. Don't let all the information stress you out. And if you don't understand something, ask the professor for clarification. So on the syllabus, you'll notice that it might be 6 to 8 pages, and there's going to be a lot of information on it. But don't let that stress you out. The information is just there so that you know what to expect and so that you are able to just be successful in the class. So make sure to use the syllabus to your advantage because you know what's due, by when, what's expected of you. So don't let it stress you out. And like always, if you have any questions, ask the professor for clarification. Or if something on the syllabus doesn't match what the professor is saying, then bring that up and say, hey, you said we have a paper due, but I don't see it on the syllabus. Was that something that was updated, or is that for another class maybe? And then they'll let you know. So ask questions, ask for clarifications. And finally, if you have any questions or if you want to contact the Student Success and Dream Center, our email is studentsuccess@riohondo.edu. We also have a website, so try that website out and you will have access to our office. We also have our phone number right here, 562-463-6650. And our location is the LRC in room 101. Right now, we are doing virtual services due to COVID-19, but hopefully we're able to go back in person soon and start serving you. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, which I highly, highly, highly recommend, because we always update any important information. We create awesome motivational quotes, a lot of good things on our social media page. I highly suggest that you follow us at RHC_SSDC on Instagram. And if you have any questions, like I said, here's our contact information. Take a screenshot of it. And if you want to rewatch the syllabus workshop, feel free to do so. If you still have questions, you can send us a DM if you like, and I'll respond back to you. Other than that, I want to say welcome to Rio Hondo College. I hope this was very useful of your time, and go out there and crush it. Welcome to Rio Hondo College. Take care, y'all.